The world is used to seeing Jason and Travis Kelce as the boisterous, grinning faces of the New Heights podcast, a show that has quickly become the go-to hangout for fans of football, pop culture, and sibling banter. Each episode is usually a riot of laughter, inside jokes, and brotherly jabs. But this week, something was different. The bright set, the familiar logo, even the theme music, everything felt muted. There was only Jason Kelce alone, his eyes red and voice trembling. From the moment the live stream began, viewers sensed that this would not be an ordinary episode. Jason sat at the mic, his hands gripping it so tightly his knuckles turned white. He took a breath, then another, but the words caught in his throat. "Travis is not sitting next to me today," Jason finally managed, staring into the camera with the rawness of a man wrestling with pain. And the reason is probably the saddest thing I've ever had to share in my entire time doing this show. What followed was more than a podcast. It was a window into the lives of two of America's most beloved sporting brothers, their vulnerability, their loyalty, and their deep connection to a family now facing a crisis. Scott Swift is a name known to millions, not just as Taylor Swift's father, but as a fixture at her side for every milestone. Fans have spotted him at concerts, award shows, and even in candid backstage photos, always wearing the gentle smile of a proud dad. But few knew the full story of Scott's health until now. Just days earlier, the Swift family gathered for a small, private party at their Palm Beach, Florida home. The evening was full of laughter, stories, and the kind of warmth that only comes when family is together. But as midnight approached, Scott began to feel an all too familiar tightness in his chest. He tried to shake it off, joking that he'd just had too much cake. But Taylor, ever vigilant, noticed the gray pallor on her father's face and the way his breath came in shallow, rapid bursts. Within minutes, Scott was rushed to Baptist Health Heart Hospital, the same place he'd been treated before. The diagnosis was grim, another severe blockage in his coronary arteries. This would be his fifth heart bypass surgery in 15 years, a daunting prospect for anyone, let alone a man whose heart had already weathered so many storms. Elsewhere, Travis Kelce was relishing a rare break from the relentless grind of NFL life, fresh from the American Century Championship golf tournament. When the news reached him, everything else faded into insignificance. He dropped his golf clubs, canceled his appointments, and booked the fastest flight to Florida. He arrived at the hospital to find Taylor pale and shaken, sitting alone in the waiting room, her hands twisting a paper cup. Without a word, Travis took her hand. For the next 7 hours, the agonizing length of Scott's surgery, he never let go. Travis didn't leave the hospital bed for a minute, Jason recounted, his voice thick with emotion. "My brother was there holding Taylor's hand every hour, waiting anxiously with her." For fans who know Travis as a larger-than-life tight end, always ready with a joke or a touchdown celebration, this was a different side, a reminder that even heroes have hearts that break and hands that tremble. Back in the studio, Jason's role was both painful and profound. He was the messenger, carrying not just the news but the feelings of his entire family, and by extension, the millions of fans invested in the lives of the Kelce and Swift families. "I want to send my deepest condolences to Taylor, to Travis, to the entire Swift family," Jason said, voice wavering. Scott, that extraordinary father, that extraordinary man, just had his fifth heart bypass surgery. A surgery that doctors said was extremely risky because of his long-standing health condition and complicated medical history. He paused, visibly struggling to maintain composure. The silence hung heavy in the air, more eloquent than any words. "In the end, all that matters is love and family," Jason continued. "That's why Travis is exactly where he needs to be right now. Everything else will wait. To truly understand the gravity of Scott Swift's situation, consider the medical journey he's endured. The heart is a stubborn, miraculous organ, capable of great resilience but also vulnerable to wear and tear. For Scott, the first warning came 15 years ago when a routine checkup turned into an emergency procedure. Since then, each episode has been a fresh battle, a reminder of his mortality and the preciousness of time. Heart bypass surgery is never routine. Each time, surgeons create new pathways for blood to flow around blocked arteries. But with every subsequent surgery, the risks multiply. Scar tissue, weakened blood vessels, and the toll of age make the process more dangerous. Yet Scott has always approached his recoveries with the same quiet determination he's shown as a father. After each surgery, he pushed himself to walk a little further, stand a little taller, savor each moment with his family. He's become a symbol of perseverance, not just to Taylor but to anyone facing their own uphill battle. For Taylor, the world's eyes are always watching. She's the artist who pens heartbreak into lyrics, the performer who fills stadiums, the icon whose every move sparks headlines. But in these moments, she is simply a daughter, frightened, hopeful, fiercely loving. Those close to Taylor say she hasn't left her father's side since the surgery. She sits in his hospital room, reading aloud from old family letters, playing his favorite songs, and holding his hand through every setback and small victory. Her superstar status means little here. Scott Swift is her world. In a rare move, Taylor postponed several professional commitments, prioritizing her father's recovery over interviews and appearances. The Swift family closed ranks, focusing on Scott's healing and the comfort only family can provide. What makes the story resonate is not just its star power, but the raw humanity at its heart. The Kelce brothers, known for their strength on the field, showed even greater courage off it, choosing vulnerability, compassion, and presence over bravado. Jason's solo appearance on the podcast became an unexpected masterclass in empathy. He didn't try to hide his tears or polish his words for the cameras. Instead, he let his pain be seen, offering a model for how men can support each other through the darkest times. "My brother was there doing the right thing," Jason said. "Everything else is less important than love and family right now." As news spread, fans from across the globe flooded social media with messages of support. Swifties and football fans alike found common ground in their shared concern for Scott Swift and admiration for the Kelce brothers' loyalty. Messages poured in, sending love and prayers to Scott and the whole Swift family. "Travis and Jason, you're showing us what it means to be real men. This is why we love you guys, not just for what you do on the field, but for who you are." Even rival NFL teams posted messages of solidarity, proving that in moments of crisis, competition gives way to compassion. Scott Swift's path to recovery remains uncertain. The road ahead will be long, filled with challenges both physical and emotional. But if there's one thing this family has shown, it's an unbreakable spirit. Doctors remain cautiously optimistic. Scott's surgery was deemed a success, though the coming weeks will be critical. Taylor and her family have asked for privacy as they focus on his rehabilitation. For the Kelce brothers, the experience has deepened their bond and reminded them of what truly matters. Jason has promised to keep fans updated through the podcast, but for now, the focus is on healing, love, and the quiet courage that gets families through the hardest nights. As the latest episode of New Heights drew to a close, Jason Kelce looked into the camera one last time. "Thank you for letting us share this with you," he said quietly. "Hug your loved ones. Tell them you care. That's what matters most." In a world that so often celebrates strength and success, it's moments like these, of vulnerability, of family, of love in the face of fear, that remind us what it means to be truly human. And as the screen faded to black, viewers everywhere wiped away tears, hugged their own families a little tighter, and silently willed Scott Swift and the families who love him toward hope and healing.